Alright, in this video we are going to solve the weekly challenge 2 from AppMillers community. So this question is from LeetCode and it's very easy. So the problem statement says that we need to write a function that takes an array of integers and target sum. So our function should take two parameters. The first one is going to be the array of integer and the second one is the number, which is going to be target sum. So the function should return the indices of two numbers that add up to the target sum. So this means that we need to find the numbers which sum is equal to the target sum, and we need to return the indices of that numbers from the array. For example, as a first parameter, if we pass this array, and as a second parameter, which is target, if we pass 9, we can easily see that in this array, if we sum up 2 and 7, it's going to be 9. So we can easily return the indices of these two numbers. So it's going to be 0 for 2 and 2 for 7. So if you sum up them, it's going to be 9. So there is not any other numbers that we can sum and get 9. In this case, we have only two numbers. So we need to solve this problem using hash map because the time complexity in this case is going to be O(n), and we can use any programming language. Now in our case, I'm going to use Python. So the solution of this problem is going to be like this. So this is a very simple function. Now we are going to go ahead and debug this function to understand in each step what we are doing over here. So when we call the function, it's obvious that the execution will start from the first line. So here as a parameter, we are going to pass target, which is 9, and we are going to pass as a numbers, which is going to be this array. So here in this array, we have 4 elements. Now the first thing that we will do, we are going to create a dictionary over here, which is going to be hash map. So as you saw before in the problem statements, it says that we can use the hash map to make the time complexity O(n). So in this case, the first step is we are creating an empty dictionary over here, which is a hash map in Python. Then we are going to write the loop, which is going to loop through this array. Now we are using enumerate over here to be able to get the index and the number from this nums array. So we know that enumerate function returns the index of the element and the element itself from the array. So here we can write the loop like this, index and number. It's going to access the element and its index. So in the first iteration, the index is going to be 0 and the number is 2 because at the index of 0 we have 2. Then the next step is we are going to find out the difference between the number that we have in this current iteration and the target. Now the target is 9 and the number that we have over here is 2, and 9 minus 2 is going to be 7. Then we are going to check that if this number that we have found is in the number to index or not. So in the first iteration, we have said that number to index dictionary is empty, so it's not there. So we are going to take the number and its index, insert it to the number to index dictionary. So in this case, the key is going to be the number and the index is going to be the index of number. So when we execute this line, in the memory, number to index dictionary is going to be like this. As a key, we have a number. As a value, in the dictionary, we have the index. So this means that first element is inserted to this number to index dictionary. Then in the next iteration, we are going to continue to the next element. Now the next element is 11. The index of 11 is 1. So the difference between the target and 11 is going to be -2. Then we are going to check that if -2 exists as a key in this num to index dictionary, we see that it's not. So we are going to go ahead and insert the number, which is 11, and its index to the dictionary. So as a key, we will have number, and as value, we will have its index. Then we will continue to the next iteration. In the next iteration, we have a index 2, and the number is 7. Then we are going to calculate the difference. So when we calculate the difference, we see that 9 minus 7 is 2, and 2 exists in this number to index dictionary. So this means that if we take the current number and the number that we have in the number to index dictionary and sum up them, it's going to be target number, because the difference between the current number and the target number gives us the number that exists in this dictionary. That's why if we sum up them, we are going to get the target number. So in this case, we're just going to access number to index dictionary with the key of this difference, which is the number that we have over here, which is 2. And we are going to return the current iterations index, which is 2 in this case. So if we access to this dictionary with the value of 2, the index is 0 and the current index is 2. So that's why the return value is going to be like this, 0 and 2. So if we sum up the elements, that's located at the index of 0 and 2, it's going to be 9. So with this, the execution of this function will stop here. So that's how we are finding the elements which sum is target. Now let's look at how this is working in practice. So here, the first thing that we will do, we are going to declare the function itself, which is going to be toSum. As we mentioned before, it's going to take as a parameter two parameters, nums and target. Now the first thing that we will do, we are going to create over here the dictionary, which is going to be empty dictionary, number to index, and it's going to be like this. So we are creating this dictionary to store the numbers and their indices. Then we are going to write the loop like this. For index and number in enumerate nums, then inside this loop, we are going to calculate the difference, which is going to be the difference between the target and the current number. So we are doing so to be able to find out if the element exists in this dictionary, then it means that the sum of the current elements and the element that exists in this dictionary is going to equal to the target. So first, we are going to check that if difference exists in this dictionary, which is num to index as a key, if exists, we are just going to return. So as a return, we are just going to put array over here. So number to index, then we will access the difference as a key. Then we will just put as a second element current index. Now, if this is not the case, we are just going to insert current number with its index to this dictionary. So it's going to be the key as a number and the value is going to be the index. Now, if this is not the case, at the end, outside of this loop, we are just going to return empty array because we cannot find any elements which sum is equal to target. So here, I'm just going to go ahead and create one array. So we have looked at this array 2, 11, then I'm going to put 7, then 15. Then as a target, let's put 9. Then I'm just going to call this function toSum with these two parameters, nums and target. Now let's just go ahead and run this. So I'm just going to put this one inside print statement to be able to see the result in the console. Now let's just go ahead and run this. You'll see that it's returning 0 and 2. So at the index of 0 we have 2 and at the index of 2 we have 7. So the sum of them is 9. So that's how we are solving this toSum problem. Now let's look at the time and space complexity for this method. Now in the first line we are creating an empty dictionary, so this is going to take O1 time complexity because initializing an empty dictionary is constant time operation. Then we have a loop over here. Now here we are going to loop through each elements of the nums array. So in this case it's going to take On, where n is the number of the elements in nums array. Then we are calculating the differences. So this is a simple subtraction operation, which is O1 time complexity. Then we have if condition over here, where we are checking that if the key exists in this dictionary. On average, it's going to take O1 time complexity because in Python, due to the hash table structure, an operator takes O1 time complexity. Then we are returning this array with these two elements. So this is going to take O1 time complexity. Then in the next line, we are inserting element to the dictionary with the num key and index is value. And this one also constant time operation. Then at the end, we are just returning the empty array. And this one also is O1 time complexity because it only occurs at the end if there is no any solution. So if we combine these complexities, it's going to be On time complexity. Now when it comes to the space complexity, the space complexity is O1 because here an additional memory is not required to perform this operation. That's why space complexity is O1. So hopefully everything is clear about this problem.